Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my recipe for these delicious and rich coconut sugar cakes. And for anyone that doesn't know what sugar cake is, it is basically a sweet dessert that is made from coconut, sugar, spices, and they're all boiled down together until you get this candy-like texture. It is a little bit chewy and it's also a bit crunchy because of the sugar. Trust me, if you love coconut, this is a dessert for you all to try at home because it's so quick and easy to make. So the inspiration for this video here was that my dad went ahead and picked some coconuts from a tree that we have next to our yard, and on this tree they had some dried coconuts. So we picked those and I'm just cutting them open. I wanted to show you all how white and beautiful they look on the inside. These coconuts are super fresh. They have not been sitting on a grocery store shelf for super long. So even when I grated the coconut, it was very white. None of that skin or that outer coating was coming off and flaking into it. And it was absolutely delicious. You can taste the freshness and the difference when you use a fresh coconut straight off of the tree. So of course, after I chopped my coconuts, I went ahead and I grated them. So after you grate them, you can start the cooking process and making your sugar cake. So I'm outside today and I'm using my Guyana style karahi to go ahead and put together this sugar cake. For anyone that doesn't know, this karahi has made a lot of delicious dishes over the years. This right here was given to me by my grandmother recently and she's had this pot for many years. So into the karahi on a medium to medium high heat, I'm adding in my coconut. What we're going to do here is we're going to parch it and we're going to let it roast in that pot until it gets a nice nutty flavor and it's going to darken in color just slightly. This will take about 10 to 15 minutes. And during this whole process, you want to make sure that you keep on stirring the coconut because as you can see, it starts to stick a little bit and it will be very quick to burn being that there's so much oil that's hidden within this coconut. But after about 12 minutes total, I went ahead and saw that my coconut was nice and brown and just the way that I wanted it. So at this point, I'm going to go in with my sugar. For this recipe, I think that white granulated sugar works best, but of course, if you wanted to use brown sugar, feel free to do that as well. And for the proper list of ingredients and measurements, all you need to do is check out the description box right below this video and everything will be listed right there for all of you to see. Make sure you check that out so you're organized and you're ready to go when you're making your sugar cake. All I'm doing now is I'm mixing in that sugar and I'm working it into the coconut. I've lowered my heat to a medium so this way nothing burns, and all I want now is for that sugar to start melting a little bit. And in absolutely no time, in about 2 or 3 minutes, you're going to see that that white or granulated sugar melts very quickly. You're going to get a mixture that's very wet and tacky feeling, and that is exactly what you want. So once that sugar melts a little bit, you're going to go ahead and add in your evaporated milk. Now if you wanted to, you could use whole milk for this recipe, but trust me, if you use that evaporated milk, you're going to get the best taste, the best texture, and it's going to be nice and rich and milky. A lot of people, when they make sugar cake, they will actually use water to put it together, but we do not use water at all because it's not as rich and it does not taste as good. Once that milk starts to bubble up, we're going to go ahead and add some flavorings to our sugar cake. So right in here, I'm going to be going in with some freshly grated ginger. This ginger right here is going to give a nice little spiciness and a nice gingery flavor to the entire sugar cake. Definitely, if you have the fresh, go ahead and use that versus the dried powdered ginger because this packs more of a punch. And at this point, I'm also going to be going in with some grated nutmeg. And this right here is one of the other main flavoring agents that we use for sugar cake. Now, depending on your traditions, your family, you might add in cinnamon, other spices, whatever the case may be, go ahead and add in all of your flavorings at this point. Now I let this mixture boil down for about 10 minutes and as you all can see, it has started to thicken up already. It still has a little while more to go, but at this point I want to go ahead and I want to give it that red color that the sugar cake is usually known for. Now the red coloring is totally optional. If you wanted to leave it this brownish whitish color, feel free to do so. Or if you wanted to color it a different color, you can also do that. But for my family, the tradition is red sugar cake. So I'm adding in some powdered red coloring. If you only had the liquid coloring, you can feel free to use that as well. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep on boiling down this mixture until it comes together and it leaves the sides of the pot and it's very thick and tacky and hard to mix. You want to make sure that you cook it for a long enough amount of time because you want the sugar to almost crystallize when you put the sugar cake down on your pan to set. You don't want it to get super hard, but you want it to have a nice chewiness and a nice crunchiness from that crystallized sugar as well. So my sugar cake mixture has been cooking for about 25 minutes in total now. As you all can see, it's very thick, it looks very rich, and you'll notice when it starts to get thick, you'll see the milk starting to get thick all around that coconut. Now this still has a little while more to cook, so I'm going to keep on cooking it on that medium to medium high heat until it comes together a little more. And after another 15 minutes, this is what my sugar cake is looking like. As you all can see, it's leaving the sides of the pot slightly. It is very, very thick, and it is also very hard to stir. This is your indication that the sugar cake is done. Also, you will see that it starts to get a little bit of a cloudiness. If you look at the edge of the spoon, you see a little bit of cloudiness, and that is the sugar starting to crystallize a bit. If you also look at the sides of the pot, you'll see that it crystallizes a bit as well. So at this point, you can cook it down for a couple more minutes if you want it to be totally crunchy and totally hard, but my family likes it in between. We like it a little bit chewy and a little bit crystallized. So I'm gonna take it off at this point. So once your sugar cake mixture is done cooking, you want to take 2 spoons and you want to drop it down onto your baking sheet into little mounds. And once you get it onto your baking sheet, you're going to go ahead and let these sit for about an hour to 2 hours until they form up and get the texture that you want. The longer that you let them sit, the harder they will get. And like I said before, if you want a very crunchy and crystallized sugar cake, you need to cook it for a longer amount of time. And if you want something that is chewier, you'll cook it for a less amount of time. But this right here is what my final product of the sugar cakes look like after they have rested for about 2 to 3 hours. As you all can see, when I break it open, they're slightly crystallized on the top, but they're also a little bit chewy in the middle. This is the texture that my family and I like, and you can go ahead and gauge it and get it to the texture that you'd like if you want it more chewy or less chewy. These right here were so delicious. They were so rich on the inside. They had a nice little spiciness from the ginger and the sweet flavor from the nutmeg. And I hope you all give this recipe a try. If you enjoyed this video today, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed yet, and go ahead and drop those comments down below and let me know what you all would like to see next. Bye everyone.